Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And you got to say you hate to see it happen, don't you? When an organisation that gets too big for its own boots has turned into a sort of crypto-fascist organisation that uses bully boy tactics. It's a protection racket, if you like. Pay us lots of money, we'll come in and make sure you're gay friendly. And if you don't, we'll tell everybody you're not, and that will harm your reputation. That's what Stonewall do. And they charge a lot of money, and they've had millions from the public purse to go in to ensure that various public bodies are gay friendly, lesbian friendly, trans friendly. Soon it'll be P friendly, because that's the direction of travel with this lot. Well, isn't it funny how they start to self-destruct from within, but then the left always eat itself? And this organisation is imploding now because its trans activists hate the gay and lesbians. And the reason they hate the gay and lesbians is because gay men like men and lesbians like women. But they're sexes. And the trans lobby don't want sexes because they can't abide the fact that men are men and women are women. They want men to be women and women to be men. And everybody in the same boat. The actual division of sex is anathema to them, but they're in this group and they don't know what to do, so they're destroying the group. There's a wonderful piece in Breitbart. It's written by one of the founders of Stonewall, Simon Fanshawe, who was very moderate, let's just say. He wasn't in your face fighting all the time. He's not like Tatchell or anything like that. Fanshawe was just a simple, look, let us just get on with it, just treat us as equal, don't make a big thing of it, that kind of thing. Live your life quietly, carry a big stick, that kind of thing. Whereas Tatchell was in your face, slap you about. And Stonewall got everything they wanted. They got all their legislation, they got their equality and law, you can't discriminate. So they got everything they wanted, they got everything they achieved and set out to achieve, and they had no further purpose. And rather than disband and stop taking all this public money, they decided they'd go down the trans route. Oh dearie me, that hasn't worked out very well. Now Simon Fanshawe's writing this piece here, or as part of it, he's not written it, but he's being interviewed as part of this piece for Breitbart. And Simon Fanshawe was actually thrown out of Stonewall. The trans lobby, who came in and basically took it over, then started ejecting old school gay men like Simon Fanshawe because he didn't fit their narrative. Isn't it funny? Isn't it funny? So now Stonewall is about to utterly destroy itself because all these government departments are stopping to fund them anymore. Let's get into this article, and it is pleasing no end. So the headline reads, "Trans craziness has ruined the credibility of gay activism," says Stonewall founder. This is, like I said, this is Simon Fanshawe. So, one of the co-founders of the far-left LGBTQ charity Stonewall, and it's always the left always eat themselves, I've said that before. One of the charity Stonewall has accused the group of discrediting equal rights activism by embracing far-left ideology on transgenderism, such as claiming there is no difference between the bodies of men and women. Now this comes up in the Alison Bailey trial, where she's suing both her employers and Stonewall. And Stonewall have put up their expert witness. Now use the word expert in the loosest possible way. This expert witness is a 24-year-old, and he's called the head of transgender inclusivity. And he was the one who couldn't give evidence until he had his mummy, his support person, and his care dog. He had to have his little fluffy dog, and he had to have his mummy, and he had to have a support person, so that he could stand there and give evidence. And that evidence was that men and women are no different. There is no difference in the bodies between men and women. There is no sexuality. We all decide what we will be internally in our minds. There is no difference. The man, what's the word I'm looking for? Moron. Moron, that's the word I'm looking for here. Well, if there's no difference then, moron, you have to ask why these gay men don't go with women, because obviously there's no difference. And why don't lesbians go with men? Because there's no difference. Well, of course there's a difference, you moron. And that's why gay men like men and gay women like women. And why straight men like women and straight women like men. It's the differences. And if there is no difference, then why is he trying to become the other one? Why would you become a woman if you're a man? There's no difference. That's your argument. So you don't need to transition, do you? Moron. Anyway, he was up there and he said these words, and we all laughed at him because he's a moron. But the one person who didn't laugh was Simon Fanshawe, the co-founder of Stonewall. And he was aghast. Anyway, we'll get into this. This is here. LGBTQP activists at Stonewall have lost the plot, according to Simon Fanshawe, OBE, who was one of the 6 founders of the group back in 1989. Fanshawe, an openly gay man who spent decades campaigning for equal rights in Britain, said that he and others made gains by engaging with others of differing opinions. In contrast, the Stonewall co-founder accused the current batch of trans activists of treating their ideology as non-negotiable, and that's the problem. No one comes to an agreement when both sides are non-negotiable. But these weirdos, these mentally ill people, won't negotiate. They're extremists. And when you get to the point of extremism like that, that's technically a terrorist organisation, a threat. And it's certainly a threat to children. He says, all that work is now in danger of being wrecked, Stonewall's reputation discredited, and its credibility squandered by trans activists, who they believe can dictate what everyone is allowed to say and think. Not this person. They don't dictate to me what I say and what I think. I say they're mentally ill, and I think they're mad, and I think they're dangerous, and I think they should be kept away from children. Sue me. I've not made any direct accusations. A small minority of activists, including those who have taken over Stonewall, do not want to extend that decency and tolerance to the rest of the population. No, because they are extremists, and that's the problem. These are the Taliban of the gay community, or the Taliban of the queer community, whatever you want to call them. Equality to them means imposing their views on everyone else without debate. That should concern anyone who believes in freedom of speech is sacrosanct. Yeah, they say, if we're going to be equal, we believe in equality, so do what we say. That's basically their mantra. We don't care about what you think you'll do. We don't care. You have to do what we do because we're fascists. Fanshawe said that his jaw hit the floor when Stonewall's head of trans inclusion, Kieran Metcalf, 24, and boy, said it when he's holding his mummy's hand and cuddling his little support dog, that bodies are not inherently male or female, they're just bodies. So why are you transitioning then? The activist made the statement during a discrimination case brought forward against the LGBTQP charity by barrister Alison Bailey, who was alleged that her chambers, Garden Court, had been swayed by Stonewall, which serves as an advisor to the law firm to reduce her pay and work after she criticised transgender ideology. Metcalf, 24, who earlier this week refused to testify without the presence of his mother and a support dog, claimed that Bailey's opposition to transgender ideology put trans people at risk of physical harm. So his words are, in his words, he's saying the fact that you disagree with me is physical attack. The guy should be locked up in a mental asylum. The Stonewall co-founder responded to the claim by saying that people such as Kieran Metcalf imagine that reality can be reshaped to fit their requirements. A difference of opinion is being painted as a physical threat. According to Metcalf, any trans person encountering Bailey is at risk of attack, and that is a completely imaginary scenario. It's mental, it's wrong, it's dangerous, and he is a lunatic. He is mentally ill. This Metcalf needs to be sectioned. In May of last year, then Equalities Minister Liz Truss, now the Foreign Secretary, called on the government to end its relationship with Stonewall over its increasingly radical positions on transgenderism. And despite being governed by the so-called Conservative Party, some 250 government bodies have paid Stonewall to educate them on issues such as gender pronouns. Yeah, him, her, he, she. They're the only pronouns you should ever use. Despite the call from Trust to stop funding the far left charity, the Foreign Office she now leads was found in January to have given Stonewall over £750,000. This is one department has given Stonewall over £750,000 between 2020 and 2021. In total, the government provided the charity with 1.2 million in taxpayer money during this time period, plus money before and money since. It's been millions of pounds. The LGBTQP activist organisation has frequently found itself at odds with other seemingly progressive voices in Britain, such as Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling, God bless her and all who sail in her, friend of the channel we admire and praise her no end. And this is over women's issues, with Stonewall deriding such critics as TERFs. Again, they having to invent words, trans exclusionary radical feminists, or as we like to call them, women who say women are women and men will never be women, and stay out of our changing rooms, you mentally ill weirdos. Simon Fanshawe argued Stonewall should not minimise the concerns of women who object to transgenders competing in female-only sports, or oppose letting biological males into female-only spaces such as changing rooms and bathrooms. Women who do speak out, even those as highly regarded as J.K. Rowling or Martina Navratilova, are told with a vehemence to shut up, Fanshawe wrote. It often feels as though the trans debate has plunged us back into an era before feminism, when women were often treated as airheads with nothing to contribute to social discourse. The trans lobby hate women. They absolutely hate women and want to cancel women. They want to redefine what a woman means to include men, mentally ill weirdo men. But these are men, and they should never be women. Now I'm going to come up and round this off, but you've actually got to agree with Fanshawe on this one. It's gone too far. He's saying, just shut up, will you? You're destroying everything we've wanted. The next thing that'll happen is there'll be a pushback, I'm going to finish there anyway. Come on. So without doubt, it's the beginning of the end of Stonewall. They're being wrecked from within. The gay and lesbian members will leave. The bi members will leave because they are what they are because of sexual preference, whereas the trans lobby are mentally ill. Now, there is another group set up, the LGB Alliance, I think, and a lot of them will go to that. But the LGB Alliance is now being called a hate group by Stonewall because it doesn't have the T in it. Oh, it's a hate group, you hate trans. And basically what the LGB Alliance is saying is, no, we don't hate trans, we just don't want trans in here because ours is a sexuality-based group, yours is a mental illness. It's funny, isn't it? So what's going to happen is Stonewall will lose all its membership except for the trans. Stonewall will become purely a trans organisation. It's going to lose all its funding and it will die a painful death. It will just evaporate through lack of money and nobody wanting to get involved with it because it's becoming toxic. And that's just great because it's toxic. It's a toxic organisation run by toxic mentally ill people who are basically abusing children because they're forcing them down and pushing the lobby. The trans lobby's pushing against children online. And they are awful. It's an awful organisation. But we shall draw it to a close there. If you like what you hear and see on the channel, please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Ring the bell for notifications of future output. Leave a like. Leave a comment. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and goodbye.